One of the first things that I wanted to kind of point out this morning, you see that when these GOP reps, GOP senators, when they retire, they then want to call out the orange guy and all this crap. You have North Carolina Senator Tillis. He announces that he's going to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Then he starts talking about his 630,000 constituents that are going to be without Medicaid. What do I tell them? It's like, okay, I'm not going to be reelected, but now I'm just going to, tell them how I really feel. But there's a flip side to that I don't think they're getting. In my opinion, it's at the point now where they can go ahead and tell that orange guy, F you, because stuff is so bad. And they can keep their constituents and explain to them why they're against that big, beautiful bill. And what I mean by explaining to them, they can actually have town halls and possibly regain their constituents, regain their faith. If they just cut this guy off and just dismiss all the craziness that he's trying to do, I'm thinking you don't have to retire to tell this guy off. What are you so scared of? You can stay in office and preach the truth, but I don't understand it. That's something that I've never been able to understand. Everybody says that it's because they are afraid of him. The biggest thing, they want to be able to run. They don't want to get primaried. But I'm like, BS is BS. Why don't they just call him out on the crap?
Well, I think I wish more of them did. So I very much in lockstep with you there. I think the reason is, or the case study we can look at, is Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. I think what the consideration is, and I know I'm giving these guys the benefit of the doubt and giving them a lot of charity, I think. But granted, going into public office comes with a lot of responsibility. In an ideal world, you're absolutely right. They would stand their ground if there was a particular, like in this instance, this bill that's going to cut his constituents Medicaid, throw a lot of them off of their medical plan. He should stand his ground on why that is bad and stay in office and let the voters decide. I think what some of them, I don't know, I can't speak for Tillis, but I think some of these people think about is Liz Cheney and what they and their families will, and I put their families in there because I think that's a really serious consideration. What they will go through. Trump has, or MAGA has, we're really in a bad situation. Not only can they put, there's always, we'll primary you and we'll put the political pressure on and all of that, but that's never changed. That's been around forever. But I think Trump's added layer of criminality is you start getting death threats.
That's what I was trying to get.
Death threats, threats of violence, just general harassment. And, we've seen it time and time again. We've heard even with the, during the January 6th hearings, there were politicians that talked about, busloads of people that went by their house and, had signs saying that accusing them of pedophilia and all kinds of stuff. So I think that some of these people have, and a lot of these politicians, especially senators, have options. They can go somewhere else. Your family's not going to be out in the cold. They're going to be able to go to probably a better paying position than senator. So unfortunately, when you're talking about your own people, your family, sometimes they win out over your constituents. And I understand that. Yes, I don't disagree with you. I wish they would. But I think when I saw Tillis, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Tillis voted against this bill.
Yes, he's one
before he announced his retirement.
Right. Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I believe the backlash that he experienced in that short period of time, voting against this bill and hearing it from the MAGA crazies, he was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Our government has been taken over by freaking crazy terrorist organization. It seems.
Man, they're taken over by the Newark mob, man. But I want to go back to the part about the the death threats. Yes, I do agree that the death threats in your family is important. That's why, once again, I go to all these particular senators and everybody. I said, why do we even have to deal with this? Okay, you're getting death threats. You're afraid he's going to do this and afraid he's going to do that. You have the freaking power. Impeach his ass, get him out of office. And because of the way that he's threatened your family, then throw his ass in jail. That's the way I look at it. I just saw this.
I hear you. I
Yeah,
agree
it
with
doesn't.
you.
It
I
just
agree
blows
with you,
my mind.
but what we have now is freaking Michael Corleone running this thing. And so it's just like if you thought,
No, it's Fredo. It's Fredo or Sonny.
no, okay, the guy has the mentality of Fredo and the skills of Fredo. But what I'm
Yeah,
saying is this: when
yeah.
you think the Godfather needs to be removed, who do you confide in? See, that's the problem. He's got these guys so
That's
much on lockdown that I
yeah,
think that they're
yeah.
seriously afraid of even. From what I hear, from the reporting I hear, these people are afraid of even being seen talking to Democrats. That's how, I mean, talking like in the hallway, like just talking. They are so. He has them so much on lock that I think that they are. There is
I didn't hear, but I didn't know about that. That is wild. That
there's no. I hear this from the old. Every so often.
I know what you're talking about. We're in DC. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But I'm saying every so often you'll hear or see an interview with somebody who's been on the Hill for a couple of decades, and when they start talking about how it used to be, they talk about going to lunch with the with the other party, with talking with them, even interacting with them socially,
Right.
But now they're saying that doesn't happen anymore. Wow. You can't go get a drink with someone else because all of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, he's sleeping with the enemy. You got to watch that guy.
Yeah, they didn't have any Democrats in the briefing on what was happening with Iran. They didn't. No Democrats, so they knew nothing. It's just the insane.
Absolutely, the Republicans and more specifically, their media arms, Fox News and the rest, have done such a thorough job of demonizing the Democratic Party that you can't be seen with them. And I bring that up just to say that if that's the atmosphere there, I just can't see Tillis he's going to have to know a senator real well to take him aside and say, hey, I think we got to get rid of Trump. Because if you say that to the wrong person, and I think there are many wrong people to say it to, a majority to say it to, I just don't know.
He's got everybody afraid of the person standing next to him.
I believe he does. I mean, especially when you see people we know that like Lindsey Graham and all these people who there's one thing about, holding the party line and say, I'm going to support this guy because he's the party candidate. And then there's something else where you just go above and beyond, like that senator. And I use the Godfather example again, that senator in the hearing in Godfather 2, who's talking about the Italian people are salt of the earth and all of that, because he's been set up. Yeah. And so that's what I think. I think we're in a bad place. And I don't envy these dudes, but I don't feel sorry for them either because they had their chance to speak up back when we were impeaching him the first time around.
Yeah, they definitely did. Yeah, I would like to hear from some other people about that. But